Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with CircWorks, and this is 100 Days of Making Comics, the show where I put aside at least 30 minutes a day in my busy schedule to work on my own personal comic book projects. This is day 24, I believe, and I have been working on a comic book called Young and the Dead. It's Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead, kids versus zombies, all that fun stuff. You've all heard it before, except if you're new, and if you're new, then you're the person I'm talking to. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I am in the scripting process. I have been in the scripting process for a while now. I'm at page 18 now out of 22, so I'm closing in. But it's yeah, I don't know. Scripting, it's not like drawing to me. It just does not come as easy. And that, I don't want to say that drawing necessarily always comes easy to me, but I don't know. And sometimes when people ask me what I do, I usually tell them an artist, and if they ask what kind of art do you do, then I'll go in a little more detail about that. But I usually never say that I write and draw, and I hardly ever say that I write. I guess I don't really think of myself as a writer, even though in a lot of ways I am. I mean, I have got paid for writing before, and I created a children's show a while back, and wrote the teleplay, and created the whole world and everything, and did a bunch of the scripts for that. So I've been paid as a writer, but I've never really thought of myself as a writer. I always liked to write as a kid. More of a storyteller. I like to tell stories, but as far as my grammar and I don't know if I could ever write prose. I mean, it helps to me. It helps. I can tell stories visually, and as long as I have that extra ability to show as well as tell, I think I'm a pretty decent storyteller. But yeah, it's just not something that really comes easy to me. So this part's always a struggle. And I really admire people that can just write away, and it just amazes me, because it's especially like people that write blogs. Like, one of the reasons why I don't post a lot on the internet is I'm always struggling to find the correct words to say, and sometimes you can kind of get the gist of that from me talking to you. I don't always, it's a little better when I'm writing, because I can think about it off the top of my head. It's like, oh, what am I trying to say? What's the perfect word? And sometimes it doesn't come to you, and sometimes when you're writing, it doesn't come that easy to you either. At least for me. So yeah, this part goes a little slow. It's a little, the thing I like about drawing is that when I'm drawing, usually I can put on my music, or I can even put on a television show playing in the background, and I can still draw. When I'm writing, it's just everything has to be perfectly quiet. No, I can't have any distractions of any kind, just so I can think, because it's more of a struggle for me. And so it's the process of writing. I don't know if I really enjoy. There's bits and pieces here and there, like when things come to you and things start clicking, I'm like, oh, that's great, and I do enjoy that. But the process of writing, I don't really enjoy. When I'm done writing, I do feel like I've accomplished something, because it is a struggle for me. And usually once I'm finished, I'm fairly happy with what I've written. So yeah, I mean, just to give you a little insight to my process, what it's like for me when writing. I'm curious how it is for different people. And some people are maybe stronger writers than artists, and they can use that to their advantage. But everyone's different, so you kind of got to use your skill set to the best of your abilities, and that's kind of what I've always tried to do. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I've been, and I may have alluded to this before in a previous episode, but I've been trying out a new scripting technique. Before, what I would do is I just write a script. I just start writing, and I didn't take any consideration as far as where the page breaks were, what the panels were, because the one benefit you have when you are the artist and the writer is that you can, you can kind of make heads or tails of your own stuff, hopefully. If you don't really have to say, well, this has to, you're not explaining to somebody else who's like if you're the writer and you're handing it off to an artist, you don't have to say, well, this happens in this scene or this, you know, all that stuff. Because I've always done both, I just kind of write, and then when I go to draw, I'll break up the scene. So, and I showed this before, but I'll tell you again because it's relevant to what I'm talking about now. But so I just write the whole script, and then I would go through and break it up. I'd like circle part of it and say this is page 1, and then the different panels and everything like that. But what I found is, like, when I was I'm working on issue 3 of the comic book right now. But when I was working on 1 and 2, I kind of did this, just knowing that I was going to be drawing it anyway, so why take all the extra time to break all that stuff out in the beginning. But then I remember as I'm drawing, I'm searching through these things and whoa, and it gets confusing even for me, even though I wrote it. So this time I decided to do things a little differently. I found there's a few different, I don't know if there's a standard comic book writing format. I've looked and I've seen a few different ones, but I found one that kind of works for me, and I'll post a link to that so you can check that out in the notes on the YouTube. If you go to the YouTube channel, it'll say links mentioned, and then I'll put a link to that. But so I found a format that works pretty well for me. It breaks everything down. It starts with, you know, page and bold, and then, you know, you have your description, and then each panel is broken up. Each word bubble is broken up. And that seems to work. I think once I start drawing, it's going to be a lot easier for me because I took the time in the beginning to kind of figure that stuff out. So I'm not flipping through pages like, oh, where's this? Everything's like it'll say page 1 in real bold letters, so I'll just go to that. And, you know, it's really straightforward. I think it's a little more time in the beginning, but I think in the long run it'll end up paying off. So that's it. That's what I've been working on. Again, the script. I'm kind of anxious for the day when I can tell you that the script is done, and hopefully that's coming up. But you know, I do want to take my time with it. So yeah, so I want to get it right because it's you know, it's with drawing it's a little different. With drawing, I mean, I would draw a page and then I'd scrap that page and then I'd go start all over again, and I would constantly do this because it wasn't, you know, I was looking for perfect, you know, and you're never going to be perfect. I mean, you know, I mean, there's artists that are masters of what they do, and but there's still, no matter what, there's always room for improvement. I have a lot of improvement. Finally, when I kind of realized that I'm just redoing these pages over and over again, and I'm learning because I am. I mean, in a way, maybe it was helpful that I did that, but it's not something you want to constantly keep doing because you don't have anything to show for it. It's always, you're working on the same thing over and over again and constantly trying to improve that same page. So with the new comic, you know, once when I started doing Young and the Dead, I said, you know, I've got a deadline. I'm just gonna get the work done, and maybe when I'm done with it, I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna say, well, I could have done that a little better, or this and that, or I could nitpick it and say, you know, oh, I should have done this or that. But in the end, the benefit to just getting it done is that I actually have a book now instead of a few pages that never went anywhere because I just didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was perfect. And there's a quote, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't know who said it. If any of you guys do, you can let me know, and I will definitely attribute it to whoever did say it. But I think, again, I'm paraphrasing, so I don't know exactly how it went, but I think it was something like, perfect is the enemy of done. And I think of that when I think of creating comics now, because you can strive and strive to be perfect, but if you don't have anything to show for it at the end, then, you know, what does that mean? And my computer's just fell asleep. Maybe they're telling me they're getting bored. So anyway, so I'm probably going to cut off now, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Be sure, you know, if you like what you're seeing or hearing, or if any of this is helpful to you, please subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, the YouTube channel. Comment, like the videos. I really appreciate all that. Ask whatever questions you want. More than happy to answer them. And you know, if I've got questions, and you know, please, if you have any help for me, because we're all learning no matter what. I mean, I'd like to hopefully teach you guys something, or at least at least provide some knowledge that you can relate to, and like, oh yeah, I know what that's all about, and it's things that you've been through before. But you know, everyone has something to offer. So if you have any answers to any of my questions, please let me know. I'm always looking for help on myriad of things. So anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. That is all.